Boston on Sunday, June 29th. All roads lead to WWE's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Live in Boston for the first time ever. See John Cena, Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, Sheamus, The Shield, the Wyatt family, and more compete to seize the briefcase with a Money in the Bank contract for the chance to become WWE World Heavyweight Champion. It's WWE Money in the Bank, live in Boston Sunday, June 29th. Tickets available Saturday, April 12th.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Harley Race.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
This is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans, welcome to another installment of Wrestling Insiders. It is Monday, May the 5th, 2014. I'm Dan Marotti, joined by the man that everybody remembers from Mass Madness, the wrestling historian himself, the man that the Boston bad boy Tony Rumble said would be in every A&E wrestling documentary if he would only wear his suit, unlike some other slob. We're talking about the Jackal.
Pleasure to be back.
Jackal, you always get the A-plus introduction. We're less than 24 hours removed from WWE Extreme Rules. It was a hot night at the Izod Center.
A very hot night. I actually enjoyed the show. I wasn't expecting much out of it.
Well, it will go down, and I don't think many people have pointed this out, but probably the most watched Extreme Rules in the history of that pay-per-view name.
Oh, without question.
We kicked it off. I missed out on this one, but I saw a lot of, I don't want to say whining, but you know how people can be. They opened with the midget match on the pregame show on the WWE Network.
And I got to say, you said there was nothing wrong with this match.
Well, I'm just going like,
It was what it was, a comedy special.
Here's what bothers me about this. And see, I'm always going to find something that bothers me about it. You know, do I want to sit there and watch a midgets match? No. But here's the thing. WWE has up-teen million kids that watch the show. They spend up-teen millions of dollars on merchandise and toys and live event tickets and so on and so forth. And you know what? There's a lot of kids that probably saw that last night that enjoyed it. There were probably a lot of kids that don't have WWE Network that would have wanted to see it because I don't believe it was on the cable countdown show. Am I right?
No, it wasn't supposed to be.
Okay, because they still run the what do you call it? The Barkers that they used to run in the old days. Okay, so I mean, you had to have WWE Network in order to see the midgets match. So it didn't take anything away from the quote unquote 3-hour block pay-per-view Extreme Rules. I didn't see anything wrong with it, and apparently it was kind of funny.
It was entertaining. Like I said, it was for comedy, and but Torito's probably one of the most talented guys on that roster.
Well, so we give our kudos to Hornswoggle and El Torito. Hornswoggle was lost in no man's land for a while before he hooked up with the three-man band, so good for him for getting a shot the night of the pay-per-view. That'll fatten up his check a little bit.
Oh, yeah, like I said, there was nothing wrong with having the match, and the match was far from horrible.
Who won?
El Torito.
El Torito won. Okay, well, I wonder if he's one of the cousins of the Colognes under that mask. Yay, nay?
I don't think so.
You haven't deciphered El Torito's identity yet. Well, there are people still trying to identify you where you only go by the Jackal. But let's go into the main body of the pay-per-view itself. We opened up with the three-way matchup of Cesaro defeating Rob Van Dam, defeating Jack Swagger. And just like they did at WrestleMania with the tag team title match, this was also a three-way elimination match, which gave the guys more time to do more things. I liked it.
It was a very good opener.
I'm still, Jackal, I think I said this when we talked about WrestleMania last time. I still wish they would, and I think they've been attempting to, but just get a little bit more sizzle behind Jack Swagger. I think there is a headliner somewhere in that body.
He may need a vacation. You know what I mean by that?
Yes, and he actually got one at one point, but he came back with Zeb, but that issue was mainly to try and get Del Rio as a top-tier Spanish attraction, which I do not see.
No.
Is either on the antagonist or protagonist side. They've tried too many times with him, and it's just not there. But anyway, Alberto Del Rio played no factor in this matchup. But
No, he did not.
first elimination, my God, what do you describe the move that Cesaro does? It's not a superplex. I mean, he's suplexing him from the apron over the top rope into the ring. What the hell do you call that?
I was lost. And when I saw it, I was like, wow.
Cesaro is a deceptively strong man. He doesn't have that big bodybuilder type physique. He's like Patera Rastani. He is unbelievably strong. I mean, Jack Swagger is a big, large man. People that have never been around the man in person, that just see him on television week in and week out, he just kind of fits in because, a lot of the wrestlers are deceptively big, but he's just a large man. And for Cesaro to be able to stand on, the middle ropes and superplex Swagger from the ring apron, again, over the top rope into the ring that's freaky to me.
Yeah, it was scary as well.
And off of that superplex, Van Dam came off of the top rope with the frog splash, 1, 2, 3, bye-bye Jack Swagger. And then it was Cesaro and RVD, and how did you see that, Jackal?
That was very entertaining, and they put on a good match. And now, of course, the right man won, Cesaro.
Cesaro, I certainly could see him in main events towards the end of the year if he keeps up at this pace. They've done a great job grooming him for a much bigger role. And, I mean, right now, after what happened, maybe he's even getting a little bit of the WrestleMania 30 rub, not only from him winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, but now being a Paul Heyman guy, and Paul Heyman's still hanging on to the, my client beat the streak every week. And I think those are some great promos.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with Paul Heyman's always done a great job as a manager.
I thought the promo last night he cut before Cesaro even came out was great. The lead-in he did to Cesaro's introduction. Well, he remembers you from Mass Madness, too. You were down at the arena before.
Oh, yes.
Back in 93. But from the three-way, Cesaro, with the big victory, we went on to Alexander Rusev, accompanied by his valet, Brigitte Nielsen. He defeated R-Truth and Xavier Woods in quick order.
Good. I mean, he should have.
What do you see?
I just don't like the look of him, but I think he's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be a huge star, but he's going to get that monster push.
Could you see him maybe in what was the guy's name? Vladimir Kozlov type role, maybe get a month or two on top and a pay-per-view push and then kind of wither away?
He may be exactly what they wanted Vladimir to be.
Oh, yeah, you know what? That could be it, too. I mean, they obviously had high hopes for Vladimir Kozlov. He headlined a few pay-per-views, and he just never seemed to click, even though he was another guy that was freakishly big in person compared to what you see on television. What do you think, Jackal? Come on, we're going to throw dirt on you. We got to check for a pulse.
He will probably be what they wanted Kozlov to be, because he just lost his steam, and now they're going to build up a little bit bigger.
He looks like
he's moved. He's now from Russia.
Yes. The Bulgarian brute apparently has switched nations. You know what I also noticed, Jackal? When Lana speaks in Russian, she apparently is saying he has the hardest head in professional wrestling.
Oh, I don't understand Russian. But I did catch her wink at me twice.
Well, she remembers you from Mass Madness,
too. Of course
she
does.
Poor R-Truth, he really is moving down the ranks in the pecking order as him and Xavier Woods were destroyed in quick order. But that's, to try and build up guys, you have to crush some guys in the process.
That's right. They got crushed.
So what happens with Alexander Rusev next remains to be seen. It was on to the Intercontinental Championship. Yet another match that was built up. I wanted to touch upon this. Wade Barrett defeating Big E for the Intercontinental Championship. It was a big Bad News Barrett crowd in New Jersey.
Yes, he was very over with that crowd in New Jersey. And I like that they still go to the old building.
Is that
that cesspool in Newark?
Wait a minute. You lost me on that one. What did you say about the building again?
I said I'm glad they still run the old building and not the cesspool with the Nets play.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay, the Barclays, right?
No. The other building in New Jersey.
What's the other building?
The one that was supposed to replace the Meadowlands, but it didn't because of its location.
Where's the other building? I don't even know.
In Newark, New Jersey.
Oh, I didn't even know there wasn't one there.
The Prudential Center.
Well, you know what? I learned something today.
Well, the Devils and the Nets were both supposed to move, but the Nets decided not to. I think the Nets stayed in East Rutherford.
I thought the Nets moved to Brooklyn.
They may have after. I believe they are actually there now.
Oh, that's why you confused me, you fool.
I'm sorry.
Jesus, Jackal.
I forgot. They started the season there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, see, the previous season, they stayed in the old building. They didn't go to the Prudential Center.
All right. Well, see, now you're getting some history on buildings there, fans. The Jackal has been to dozens, if not hundreds, of events in the tri-state area. That's part of what makes him the historian here in New England, because he has so much knowledge outside of this area. But that's a different story for a different time. What did you think about Big E's run, Jackal? I know WWE is big on the guy. They push him as one of their up-and-coming stars. I don't know if I'm completely sold on that, but he put in a night's effort. I mean, that spear through the middle rope onto Barrett with both of them crashing on the floor, that was very impressive. He's a freakishly strong guy. What do you think about Big E?
I'm always impressed with him. I've been impressed with some of his matches. However, I was not impressed with the IC title run that they gave him.
You know what? I think it's time either they do away with the Intercontinental of the U.S. or merge them, or, again, come up with the rule that I like where titles are only defended on pay-per-views. They're not on the line on free television. Something to make the titles stand out a little bit more, give them more value, or just, do away with them. I know there's a lot of heritage with both of them, but in 2014, they really don't need them.
No, there are too many belts.
Well, do you think the Intercontinental title will help Bad News Barrett?
For a short time, sure. Anytime you're a champion, it's a big deal.
Well, he's held the gold before. I believe he was the defending champion during the pre-match at WrestleMania 29 against The Miz.
I think you're right.
He's held championship gold before. I'm sure he'll hold it again. I think Bad News Barrett certainly has the rocket on his back right now as far as moving up the ranks. And you have a few guys in that position where we just even ran down this pay-per-view itself. Cesaro, a guy on the move. Rusev, a guy on the move. Barrett, a guy on the move. So there's a lot of change.
And Big E is not done.
No, he's a young guy. I mean, there's still a lot of time for him to become the superstar that I'm sure WWE would like him to become. I just don't see it yet.
Did you ever see any of his NXT matches?
I've watched one NXT match ever.
Because he did the 5-count gimmick over there.
Did he?
Yes.
Now, he was the top babyface in NXT for a period of time. Was he not? Right around the time they brought him up to the main roster with Ziggler. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right.
Oh, I'm right. Okay. Well, you watch the NXT. Maybe we should have you do the NXT report, Jack. Smarten everybody up as to what's happening.
I really watch it. I watched more of the old ones because I had Hulu Plus.
Oh, okay.
So I was watching it on a fairly regular basis.
Well, do you think there's some stuff that Big E has done, watching him down in NXT, that he hasn't done in WWE as of yet?
No, I think, because it's a smaller atmosphere there. I don't know if you've never seen anything there?
I watched one. It was a triple threat match with the Shield.
Oh, okay.
They wrestled each other.
It's a pretty decent show. Even now the ones that they show now on the network.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fantastic. The production values and the setup of it.
So you didn't watch the live special on the network, or you didn't have the network?
I didn't have the network at that point. I told you last time. I kind of splurged on that last minute because little Devon wanted to see WrestleMania live, and I figured, well, I'll give it a shot. And like I said, there's so much great stuff on WWE Network. There's no reason not to have it if you're a fan, and only $9.99 a month.
You saw the new edition today?
I have not, Jackal.
All the clashes are up.
I'll tell you, my viewing has been pretty much limited to, I've been so busy the past couple of weeks, and I had another CRPS attack in my feet. I've been limited to Legends House, which I get a kick out of, even though it's much like all of reality television, a little bit on the scripted side, shall we say.
Yeah. But it is fun.
What's that?
I do like it. I do like Legends House. I thought I would hate it, but I do like it.
Imagine if we had one of those back in the days of the CWA.
Oh, God.
That would have been like a Legends House turned into Survivor with only one person last in the 8 weeks.
Well, on half of them on Legends House.
Well, you know, there are many CWA alumni on Legends House, which you can check out fresh episodes of every Thursday night. I believe it runs head-to-head with TNA Impact.
Oh, I know what's winning.
Jackal, come on now. All right, on to the big one. The match that everybody's talking about today, much like the match everybody was talking about the day after Elimination Chamber, it was a 6-man tag with the Shield, this time defeating Evolution, Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton.
This was fantastic. All 6 worked very hard. All right, 5 of them worked very hard.
Oh, I got to say all 6.
No, I know. You know who I was being mean to.
You got to give credit where credit is due and knock them when it's well-deserved.
He wasn't even that bad.
I mean, just an outstanding match from start to finish. You talk about Extreme Rules. Is WWE's new PG environment, does it take away from that? As from what you saw in past years? Yes, there's no blood. But what you saw was just an outstanding, athletic brawl all over the building, all over ringside. Just some of the things that, honestly, what made me think it was so good was how many times I said, wow, as I watched it.
I was very impressed by that match.
I think the Shield is obviously on the rise. But for Seth Rollins to go up into the upper tier and jump off of the railing, do you know how dangerous that is?
I know.
With all those, it's unpredictable. A crazed fan could have ran up and pushed the guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you don't have the WWE Network, you should get it just to watch Extreme Rules, because it's worth it. That match was outstanding. That's how I didn't watch it until about 1 in the morning. I wanted to watch it here last night at the studio, but I just got caught up in doing other things, and I waited till I got home so I could see it in its entirety. And it was, I mean, the Shield match alone made it worthwhile. I don't know about the people that are still buying it on cable, but just one hell of a matchup. Like I said, Roman Reigns to me is the guy. I've said it since last year when people, I don't know if they had much of an opinion on him. He has the look. He has enough size behind him. He's got a unique presentation, the tattoo. He's developed some interesting moves. He does that running kick to the guy standing, laying on top of the bottom rope. He's got the Superman punch, which is a far cry from the people's elbow and whatever you call Cena's little punch. One thing about him that I think a reason why people are getting behind him, Jackal, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, he's very different than the top-tier good guys, baby faces in recent years. He's angry, he's powerful, he's aggressive, he's explosive. And I really don't think you've seen that from a Cena, a Bryan, a CM Punk, a Rock from when he's been around. Undertaker, he really can't get those bursts due to the nature of who the Undertaker is. I really think he's different from everyone, and I think that's the reason why he's standing out. But, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong about this, as much as WWE has wanted to take Roman and put him in that key spot, Ambrose and Rollins have been so great in recent months that you can't split them up. They're too great together.
That's what it is, because I thought they were being split up. for a while there, and then it seemed like they just decided that they're all going to be the fan favorites.
I think it would be detrimental to them right now to break them up where they're so hot together.
Oh, right now, no. You have to keep them together for now. They're going to be together for a while. I can still see them be together 5-6 months down the line easily.
Yeah, I mean, they're really starting to establish a great legacy for their run together as a trio. What about my thoughts on Roman Reigns, Jackal? Do you think that's why the fans have taken to him so much? Is that he's a unique superstar on top on the good guy's side?
He's very unique, and unlike the Ambrose and Seth Rollins, he spent the shortest amount of time at NXT.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a real deal athlete. He was a pro, not a pro. Yeah, well, I don't know if he was drafted by the Vikings. I know he was a star in college.
And of course, you got that wrestling heritage behind him
Oh,
as
of course.
well.
The son of WWE Hall of Famer Sika is part of the much larger Samoan clan. That's what I mean. He's got that unique look, almost like The Rock, but he's very, very different than The Rock.
Much different.
He comes across as a dangerous man as opposed to someone doing a comedy stand-up. So I'm really excited to see what happens with Roman Reigns. I'm excited to see what happens with Ambrose and Rollins if they do go their separate ways, which I'm sure will happen as time goes on because there's too much superstar potential in all three.
Yeah, you can't stay together forever.
Right. Just a really exciting match. It'd be interesting to see what happens tonight on Raw. You know, for the people that take their little pot shots at Triple H and Orton and Batista that they've been around too long and they've seen this, seen that. Hey, you've never seen what you saw last night before, and that was they gave the Shield all the rub in the world. Now it's up to the Shield to take that ball and move it up yet another notch. From there,
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, but I really see Roman Reigns as a guy that could be the guy in short order. The fans have really taken to him.
He could win that belt sometime next year, perhaps.
The movement of fresh faces in WWE continues to rotate, as it will tonight in Albany, New York, at 8 p.m. for a 3-hour Raw extravaganza. But we moved on, Jackal, to the steel cage match, a match that I'm sure gets a wide variety of opinion. That's what's great about wrestling. There's a little bit something for everybody in it when done right. Bray Wyatt defeated John Cena.
Well, we knew he was going to beat him eventually.
Well, I thought this match was better than the WrestleMania effort, believe it or not.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Thought there was more interest in it. I thought there was more of a story to it. I liked some of the things they did, as in Rowan giving Cena the splash from outside the cage. I thought that was cool. Cena actually bringing Harper into the cage. It made for a unique match. Cena had it won about 10 times with some of the different scenarios that came up, and in the end, Bray Wyatt got the pinfall, and we saw the debut of Little Johnny taking a page out of Nail's book with the goggly voice, and he appeared to scare the hell out of John Cena. Your thoughts on this one, Jackal?
He was very... That little kid, the voice, that was very scary. It was freaky.
You were scared listening to the voice.
So I wouldn't say I was scared, but it was weird.
To me, it still doesn't click. I don't understand what the Wyatts are trying to do to Cena. If they're trying to... What is it, Jackal? Explain it to me.
I think he's just trying to get into his head, and I think Bray Wyatt's doing a fantastic job with that.
Well, it's something new for John Cena. Different than we've seen over the past 10 years or so with him in the main event position. But the Wyatts are certainly a unique, dangerous act. And I got to say this, I like the idea of there being something so unique as a kid involved in it as part of their cult-like family.
I hope I hope one of the storylines they don't go for is to have like John Cena try to rescue this kid.
Oh, I certainly could see that happen.
Because you know how that ends.
Yes. But I'll tell you this, do you know who the child was?
No, I do not.
And I could be wrong on this, but I'm going by the expert opinion of our director here at the studio. That is Jameson's son, according to him.
Really?
Jameson being the comedy artist that worked with Bobby Heenan and the Bushwhackers in the early 90s. Late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, Jameson's son has done a few, I think, commercials, and he's done some acting, and apparently that was him. Who would think Jameson would be lurking around the WWE locker room in 2014?
I'm shocked he has a kid.
Well, I'm not going to go there, but hey, like I said, it's going to be, it's really adds to the dynamic of what's going on with Cena and not the Shield, the Wyatts. They have a little kid involved now. I don't remember that ever being done in WWE.
I think the last time we saw a kid would be Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero.
Rey Mysterio and Eddie, yeah, in 2005. But that was
completely different.
That was over who the real father was, and
right.
That was. But I don't know where they're going to go with the little kid. Maybe the little kid's behind everything. Another reason to tune into Raw tonight. Bray Wyatt comes away with the win, but I don't think we've seen the end of Cena and the Wyatt family by any stretch of the imagination. All right, we had there the WWE Divas matchup, one that I actually sat through, unlike WrestleMania. Paige defeated Tamina Snuka via submission.
Okay. I'm sorry, I laughed at the beginning of the match. Did you catch it?
No. And I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't know. What are you talking about?
Michael Cole said Tamina is the son of WWE Hall of Famer Jimmy Snuka.
He didn't, did he?
Oh, yes, he did.
Well, you know what? I won't touch that one either. But it was a short match, put in the right spot on the show. Let the fans get something to drink, something to eat in between the Wyatt match and the championship match. Nothing wrong with it. I thought it did Tamina Snuka a disservice to have her submit to a girl that looks like she weighs about 90 pounds. But hey, Paige seems to resonate with the fans. They seem to like her enough. So
yeah, they do.
Who knows what's next? I like Snuka. I think she should have been one to carry the ball for a bit, but I think in due time, just about every diva will have a chance at the title at some point.
Well, I heard if I put a wig on, they'd put the strap on me.
I heard a rumor last night. I don't know if it's true, Jackal. It was on some of the Twitter messages that you do the Bray Wyatt backwards handstand trying to go into Kelly's to get a clam plate.
I can't even stand. I mean, do that.
I'd love to see you do that, but nonetheless,
never have.
Interested in your thoughts on the main event, the championship match, Daniel Bryan defeating the veteran Kane. Kind of reminded me of an Attitude Era type main event.
It does. Of course, they did the one thing I hate.
That being?
When they involve fire.
You don't think there was a place for the fire?
I never thought there was at all.
Well, I think it really added to the match. I don't know. Kane isn't going to go in there and have, the proverbial 5-star classic with Daniel Bryan, but here's what I think is good about it. Daniel Bryan is going to grow stale if that's what he does every month. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. There needs to be a little bit of variety to what he does, and that match was variety. You're not going to see Bryan involved in a lot of brawls like that, but he was defending the honor of his now wife. He was defending the honor of the championship. I like Kane with the mask, as I've stated before, and I think they really put forth a good effort going all over the building, into the back.
I'm not knocking the match.
You just didn't like the fire.
I never did.
I like the fire, but I mean, again, that's the variety of it. You liked it. I mean, I liked it. You didn't. I'm sure everybody had their own opinions on that. I think you kind of needed to have a little bit of spice there because, as I said, this wasn't going to be one of the matches that Daniel Bryan had at WrestleMania, working with Triple H and then the Triple Threat. Kane is a monster, and it was like a horror movie. They fought. They, did things you'd see in a Friday the 13th type finale to the end of the match. I think that dive off of the, not scaffolding, the wooden pallet, people remember that for a long time. That was a pretty cool point in the match.
But overall, it was a good match.
Do you think we've seen the end of Bryan and Kane, at least on pay-per-view?
On pay-per-view, I hope, but I have a feeling at least as far as television goes, no.
Next pay-per-view, I believe, is June the 1st, Jackal?
Yes.
That would be Payback, emanating from one of your favorite cities, Chicago, Illinois. Do you think people are over the whole CM Punk thing as of yet?
I doubt it. People just want to see him come back. I don't see it happening. Not this soon.
Well, everyone expected him at Raw, all the people on the internet with all the scoops. You know, I don't like to get too much into my discussions, but I was told it wasn't going to happen, and it never happened. So some people might know much more than I do, and you do. We're not in the ivory tower in Stamford, Connecticut. We're not at meetings at WWE television every week, but the company right now is on a roll. I don't think the fans can be as angry as they were during you might call it a little bit of a lull coming into 2014 with the Orton and Cena saga that has been seen a lot. And the fans wanted a movement, and guess what they're getting, Jackal? They're getting a movement.
They got it.
I mean, you look at this card, right? I'm looking at the piece of paper right now with the lineup on it, and every one of these people that was victorious last night are in a much stronger position than they were at this point last year. They're in a much stronger position than they were at the beginning of 2014. Cesaro, Rusev, Barrett, The Shield, Wyatt, Page, and Daniel Bryan. If you want something new, this is the product for you. If you want something of old, you have WWE Network to go back and watch it on.
Oh, that's right. All 35 clashes.
You're big, Jackal. Give it the big plug. I know you've been itching about this for days now, and I'm not as excited as you are. But you know what? I'm happy that you're happy. Tell the people what's on WWE Network as of today.
Well, look, as of yet, when we talked, when we were sending emails back and forth, it was only the first two that they were going to show.
Well, tell the people what the hell you're talking about.
Well, now you can watch all 35 Clash of the Champions in the Vault section.
WCW ran these Clash of the Champions specials, which were the equivalent of a much stacked-up Raw or Nitro back in the 80s into the 90s before the Attitude Monday Night War era began. And they were great events. They were pay-per-view caliber events, most of them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they had some, ones, but for the most part, and don't forget, New York Knockout was probably featured that fantastic Slam Funk match.
Were you there live for that one, Jackal?
No, I was not.
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised at that. Where was Rohan Tulloch? But yeah, all 35 Clash of the Champions are now available on the WWE Network, featuring a lot of great pay-per-view quality action from a lot of great events, just like a movie. Not every one of them is as good as the other, but you have 35 clashes to pick from. And yet another reason to cough up that $10 a month on the WWE Network. But for fans in the Northeast, we always are talking about the upcoming WWE events. It is worth noting that WWE returns to the Izod Center Live September the 26th. One of your old haunts, Jackal, am I right?
Yes.
What are some of your favorite memories from that building?
I saw the Superstars of Wrestling tape in there where they started the Hulk Hogan versus Andre WrestleMania 3 stuff.
That happened in the Izod Center, formerly known as the Nassau Coliseum.
No, the
Meadowlands. I'm sorry. So you've got me all confused going back to the Barclays Center a little while ago. And that would have been, what, early January of 87?
Yes.
Was that the same TV taping that Demolition debuted at?
Yes.
And that was not Axe and Smash as Bill Eadie and Barry Darsow. Was that Bill Eadie and Randy Cully?
Yes.
Managed by the luscious one, Johnny V?
Luscious Johnny V.
Well, I'm surprised he never appeared on Mass Madness, but that's a different story for a different time. I'm sure you would have been happy. You were a big fan of the Valiants back in the late 70s.
Oh, yeah.
That's when they were managed by Captain Lou. Meadowlands, certainly a historic venue. That is now referred to as the Izod Center. I hate the name changes. I understand the money involved, but, to me, the Meadowlands is the Meadowlands. Nassau Coliseum is Nassau Coliseum. MSG is MSG. What's going to happen with MSG in the future, Jackal? They just went through putting in almost $1 billion in renovations, and now New York City is telling them to get out within 10 years.
They want them out.
What do you think the resolution to that is going to be?
Well, see, someday we might have to have an arena special. I guess the owners of Madison Square Garden told the city if they built them a new arena, state of the art like they've got right now, they'll move. And I think you know the odds of that happening, right?
Exactly. It's in a perfect spot. I mean, Penn Station is, if you've never been there, Penn Station is right underneath Madison Square Garden. So whether you're someone that's taking the subway, whether you're someone in the tri-state area that's taking a commuter rail train, whether you're a diehard fan that's even taking an Amtrak train, it's so central to everything. Even if you take a bus, it's only about maybe 5 or 6 blocks away from the Port Authority. For them to move it, I mean, I don't know New York City as well as others do, but I could see it being more of an issue to try and get to it. I mean, I don't know how many major train stations there are in that area. I don't know how far they'd want to move MSG.
Leave it where it is. I know it has something to do with the Port Authority that they want for the trains and all that bull.
What is it? They want to build some kind of a state-of-the-art train station? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't understand why they can't do that with MSG on top of it.
I mean, they knew they were going to do these renovations at Madison Square Garden. Why don't you say something before they take place?
That's what I don't get. What are you going to do? Put $1 billion into a venue, have to build a new one with the same name, where they don't even know where it's going to go as of yet, and then tear it all down? I don't get it. But you know what? I don't get a lot in life.
I mean, because they gutted that building. I don't know if you saw the pictures.
No, I was there for the Hall of Fame last year, but I kind of went through the back area where I took a couple of pictures when I did my little WrestleMania 29 Twitter feed, and then I went right up to my seat. But, I mean, what was different about it?
I'm talking about if you saw you didn't see no pictures of the garden while they were doing the construction?
No.
Oh, they had everything out. They took the roof off.
They took the roof off?
Yeah, because you could see, like, they had it where the sun was all in the building.
Yeah.
All the seats were gone. The floor was ripped up. They, like, rebuilt that building.
Wow. Is it the same roof or a replica?
I'm sure it's a replica.
Okay. Wow, I didn't know it was that extensive. But then again, for $1 billion, you could have built a new venue.
Right.
Well, since we're on the subject of MSG, Jackal, you've been to that building, again, dozens, if not hundreds of times. What are some of your favorite MSG matches and moments?
Obviously, my first trip there, I'll never forget that one with the Hogan and Morocco cage match.
And when was that?
June of '85. It was shortly after WrestleMania 1.
And was that during one of the times when Piper went MIA?
No, because Piper was on the following show.
Okay.
He was scheduled for the main event in July.
So you got Hogan and the Magnificent One, Don Morocco, a man I'm a big fan of.
It was a good match. Ricky Steamboat wrestled that night, too, against Greg Valentine.
Did it take him 15 minutes to warm up?
No. But it was just something just being there. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, I remember my first trip there vividly. I remember someone that took up half a minivan, but again, that's a different story for a different time. For me, that would have been the Survivor Series 96. You had the Austin and Bret Hart match. You had the Sid versus Michaels title match when the crowd turned on Shawn Michaels and Sid became the new champ. You had some of the multi-man matches that night. Undertaker coming down from the roof to take on Mankind with Paul Bearer. Oh my God, put up in the little cage above the ring. It was a good show. When you look at some of the names that were on it in the future, it was the debut of The Rock. Triple H was still the Aristocrat. I mean, it was a loaded show. Again, you can catch that on the WWE Network right now. But just the aura of the building itself, to say you're at Madison Square Garden, that really meant something. I've probably been to MSG now over 20 times, and it's still, it's almost like what people talk about with Fenway Park. I won't even get started on that, but what you think of it the first time you're there, and what you think about it every time you walk up one of those ramps and you see the field, it's kind of a cool experience. As far as Fenway Park goes, I think that needed to be torn down and rebuilt 20 years ago.
30.
Maybe, yeah. I'm not quite that old. I couldn't tell you back then with what the Yorkies were doing, Jackal, although Gene Yorkie remembered you from Mass Madness. If you've never been to Madison Square Garden, WWE will be there live Saturday, July the 12th. And you think about it, Jackal, that's a historic date when you think about it, because WWE will be live at MSG, and they'll be live in Tokyo, Japan.
That's right.
Two of the biggest cities in the world having WWE the same night. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you're going to be there, Jackal. We hope all of our great fans in the Northeast will be. Any final thoughts about WWE Extreme Rules 2014 moving forward?
No, nothing to add to it, but I will once again say that overall, I thought it was a great show.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to give it a rating, or on 1 to 10, or a school grade rating, you'd just with the 6-man alone, you'd have to give it at least a B, B+. Nothing on the show made you want to go, and again, if we just talked about Survivor Series 96, as you look at some of those stars in WWE at 96 and where they went from there, every match on this show was built up. Every match. And when was the last time you saw that on a pay-per-view?
It's been a while.
Every match from top to bottom. The triple threat match, all three of the men involved were having issues before the show. Rusev had issues with R-Truth and Xavier Woods, and that wasn't a match that really even needed a lot of building up. Wade Barrett had to win a tournament to get the Intercontinental title shot against Big E. The Shield has been having issues with the Authority, Evolution, going back to right around WrestleMania time. Wyatt and Cena have obviously had their issues. Tamina had to win a Battle Royal to get the championship shot against Paige. And Daniel Bryan and Kane, not only have they had their recent problems where Stephanie brought the masked Kane out of retirement, but they were the tag team champions, which started the whole yes and no movement.
Yes, no.
Now, Quincy Rustani likes that one a great deal, which anyone that's ever been to a Boston Garden event knows. I know you've tried to try on his leopard skin coat a few times, Jackal, but that's a different story for a different time, too. Again, I think we'll look back in time at Extreme Rules 2014 and say, wow, this was the beginning of something special for at least a few of the stars that we mentioned today, if not more. You there, Jackal?
Yeah, and we went dead for a second.
Oh, all right. Well, I don't want to lose you, but again, I think we're going to see this be the rise of a lot of the folks that we just mentioned on this event. And tonight we have a big Raw from Albany, another one of your favorite arenas.
Oh yes, that's fantastic building.
What was it called the first time you were there, Jackal?
It was Knickerbocker, wasn't it?
Yeah. I just wanted to hear you say it. Were you there the night when Flair won the title?
No.
You didn't go to Rumble 92?
No.
Why? Where was Roanne Tulloch for that?
I don't even know.
Or were you busy with the Owl down at Campus Convenience?
No, that's still too early.
Really? Oh, when did Campus Convenience debut?
That'd have been the following year.
That was another historic venue that's now been renamed in Kenmore Square.
Yeah, what a shame.
But anyway, Jackal, we want to get this edited and up online before Raw tonight. It's been a pleasure to have the historian with us, fans. Hope you enjoyed this installment of Wrestling Insiders. Of course, we'll be back with you soon with more news, notes, thoughts, and history here in the King of Sports Professional Wrestling. Be well.
Boston on Sunday, June 29th. All roads lead to WWE's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Live in Boston for the first time ever. See John Cena, Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, Sheamus, The Shield, the Wyatt family, and more compete to seize the briefcase with the Money in the Bank contract for the chance to become WWE World Heavyweight Champion. It's WWE Money in the Bank, live in Boston Sunday, June 29th. Tickets available Saturday, April 12th.